Right, how you going, ladies and gentlemen? Sorry, my dog just decided to fucking bark as soon as I started this recording. So, how's everybody doing? I'm doing a bit of a personal blog update. I call this Coffee with. I think I'm going to call it Coffee with Dan or something like that, or Coffee Tech and Coffee Talk or something like that, or something effectively. No, I'll work it out anyway. But this is a bit of a personal blog, as well as being a personal blog. It's also reviewing some tech stuff that I recently bought. So a few things that I ended up buying at the end of it was a new monitor for myself. I sold my old Xbox One. That was the old VCR version, so I sold that. I also sold my old monitor as well, my old Wasabi Mango, and I've now got an AOC, and I'll get the model number in a moment, so people know exactly what model number it is. I ended up buying a Xbox One S for now, and I'm going to get myself an Xbox Series X when it comes out. We'll see what happens anyway with that. But aside from that, I had to go and purchase a new headset as well. So I grabbed one of these. It wasn't overly expensive. That's my point. I sort of went with a relatively cheap one anyway. Not too bad. I've actually been using this on a couple of streams that I've been testing out and stuff on Facebook and say again, cross Twitch and stuff and things like that. So I have been testing it out to see how well it works and the best way it works and stuff like that, things of that nature. So it's actually been working quite well. A few other investments that I've made in the tech department at this point in time. I got a new router. I ended up getting a new router for myself a while back, as you know. And these are just a few things that a few major purchases that I have made. I got my new work laptop at the same time, a new gaming laptop, which has been pretty good. Some of those purchases I got a little bit of help with from my dad, for the sense of like just I couldn't afford all of them, so there was a couple of things that he did buy. There's definitely a few things that he did purchase, or I contributed a little bit of my own money, of course, but I mean the other side of it too is business has been a bit slow, so that's the other side of it as well. Um, but I mean, regardless of the situation, I've been helping him anyway with most things at this point, anyway. Well, I mean, I do all this eBay stuff and everything else, so I mean, in that sense of things. I guess, look, there's a lot of things that have actually changed in my life. So, I mean, aside from the tech side of things, so we've got brand new Xbox headset, brand new Xbox as well, which is Xbox One S, and obviously got one of the controllers with it and everything else. Um, I also I went on a holiday trip, as you know. I went on a cruising trip, which was awesome. That was quite fun. I ended up getting a battery pack from I think this was Kmart actually. I got this from Kmart, so it wasn't actually too bad. It was about $35, and this has wireless charging. So you just stick the phone on top of it, and just away you go with wireless charging and everything else. The other thing that I did as well is a while back I picked up a selfie stick, which this is for all my sort of do-it-yourself sort of videos, and not just do-it-yourself, but like even if I want to take videos of stuff that I'm repairing or fixing or whatever or things like that. So that's been awesome. That's been a great on the side of tech and everything else. I've actually been doing pretty well in the sense of what I've been able to get. I got a Google Home and so I got a Google Nest Mini, and I got a Google Nest Home with it's got a display and everything else on it, so you can see recipes and you can flick through things and you can do your schedules and stuff and everything else. So I got a speaker for my room, and I got a speaker. We've got a speaker for the outer kitchen and everything else, so Dad can check stuff. And so also I got my dad's Google profile and everything else signed in there as well. Um, Aside from that, other developments in my life currently, I ended up getting. Let's make sure there's no numbers in there. Identical Bible stuff. I end up getting. Oops. Wrong thing. I end up getting my learner's license. So I've actually achieved something that I was wanting to achieve for a while. Yeah, no, not the best picture of me, but yeah, I got my learner's license, and I'm actually currently learning to drive. Not very nerve-wracking experience, I must admit, and to be honest, I enjoy some parts of the driving aspect, and some. I mean, look, I'm just starting to learn, so it's all right. I'm getting there. I'm working my way through it. I went with an instructor onto the road and everything else. I did manage to crash, so that's a plus side. Didn't manage to crash the car. Didn't manage to do much damage to the car. Kept it at a reasonable speed. I just have to gauge the accelerator pedals and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different things. There's also something I didn't know originally, that you don't use both feet to drive. That's something I didn't know. That's just because I've never driven before. So you know, that's just something I didn't know. So I mean, look, at the end of it, we are all here to learn, and that's the way life works. Um, so what else have I been doing? I mean, aside from getting my learner's license, I've also got a couple of other bits and pieces that I think are going to help me a lot with different things I do, because I do volunteer work and stuff like that. I also ended up getting a vulnerable people card. Now, I don't know whether people know what that actually is, but a vulnerable people card a vulnerable people card. Shit. Vulnerable people card. Most people, maybe people do know what this is, but it's basically where you can look after people with issues or problems, or vulnerable people like children. You can work with children. You can work with adults with mental issues and stuff and things like that, and people with intellectual disabilities and stuff and things along those lines. And basically, I got one of these cards. This card gives you a police check. It gives you a bunch of other stuff. So it gives you a police check. It gives you goes through all the databases and everything else, and does all that stuff and everything along those lines, and does those things. Uh, so police check with everything. Like, checks all the databases and stuff, and make sure that haven't got a criminal record, that you're not dealing kids or something, or you're not doing dodgy stuff, or you're not a thief or a criminal or anything like that. So that's, pretty much that's what it's designed to do. So it looks good when you do, say, for example, like I do volunteer work on a regular basis. Anyway, I got one of those. Got myself a learner's license. I passed my test the first go, so I got my test over and done with, and the test's pretty piss easy, as the driving part's a little more difficult, but I'll get there eventually. Aside from that, I've got... Sorry, my dog is fucking annoying at the moment. Shut up! Pain in the ass. So, I guess in context of it, what I've ended up actually doing is I've got all that stuff. I've got the license included. I've got a few new tech items which I've been having fun with and mucking around with. The other thing that I ended up purchasing a while back was a new water cooling unit for my PC. So that's a little bit of tech side of things. I ended up at NZXT. I think it's... I don't know where it is. I had the box before. I had the box... I think it was a Kraken... Let me just check the model number. So I got... where is it? NZXT. It's here. Where is it? Calling. Kraken X. It says Kraken X, but I think it's something else. I don't find the bloody model number of it. It should be there, though. If it registers in the system, it should be there. That's fucked. Nope. Kraken. So it says Kraken X, but I don't think it is. I think it's like an X45 or something, or 65. I've got the model number written down somewhere, because I'm pretty sure that I actually put it on most of my specifications anyway. But let me just double check. Let me see here. Let me just have a look on my... Oops, I went on the wrong fucking thing. let's have a look. Discussion boards about. Let's see. It's a Kraken X42. So an NZXT Kraken X42. That's what I got. Yeah, so I ended up getting that. Great to use. Temperatures have been spot on most of the time, and I haven't had major issues with them, which has been good. I'm still working a bit on my smoking and my drinking, and I have, to some degree, decreased my drinking to a certain extent. I'm still drinking from time to time, and I still smoke, so much has changed in that department. I have lost a bit of weight, which has been good. Not a massive amount of weight, but I have lost a bit. The monitor that I ended up getting was a 1440p AOC Q3 to V3 75Hz monitor, which has been a fantastic experience. It's an awesome monitor to play games on and do stuff on, and it's generally fantastic. Like, I've no issues with it whatsoever, and it's absolutely marvelous to play games on. Not just play games on, but do generally anything, and even watch videos on. It's fantastic for that. Fantastic for browsing the web and having plenty of tabs and stuff open and all that. It's just great for doing multitasking stuff in general. I ended up getting a monitor a while back, but it was a long time ago though. But I mean, I haven't really spoke about any of the upgrades little upgrades that I've done over time on my computer. So it's a 25-inch LG 2560 by 1080p ultra wide. So I got an LG monitor. It was second hand at the time. I think it was 130 bucks. I mean, like 133 bucks or something. And I got it second hand, so you know it's not too bad. The pricing was pretty good. I upgraded my webcam to an C922 streaming webcam, which I'm actually thinking about upgrading it to something else at some point. I ended up getting a new microphone as well because my microphone out in... Well, actually, I have a microphone out in the garage now that I'm using. It's the old one, which just doesn't work on my computer at all for some reason. It just doesn't like my computer. And not just the fact it doesn't like my computer, but it just has serious issues with my computer. But I got it to work on my workbench computer, so now I can use it as my workbench microphone. Up until the point that maybe it dies. We'll see what happens. But for the most part, it seemed to be working. What else is there? So Xbox One S. I don't think there's anything else I really changed in this PC. No, I mean, look, most of the other specs have stayed the same. I still got the same specs in my system. I think I'm planning to upgrade to an Ryzen 3900X at some point. That's my ultimate plan, is to upgrade to a Ryzen 3900X, so 12 core. We will see what happens, and we'll see where time takes me with that, and we'll see exactly which direction I'm going to go with that. And I have been looking at some of the other CPUs that are out there as well, just thinking about what specific CPU I'd go after. And to be honest, I think 12 cores is going to be enough. I could go the big behemoth CPU, which is a 16 core one, but I just thought, nah, fuck it. It was like just too much money. It's $1,000 for the damn thing. I mean, $700. I'm going to maybe justify $700 to a certain extent. I mean, ultimately, I guess if I really want to put the extra money in myself in combination, you know, maybe I might, but we'll see. But I think the 12 core, I'm just going to stick to that for the moment. But I have made a few custom upgrades. I've changed a few things around. I've now got my license, which is awesome. Other stuff, I mean, I've changed all my logos and stuff around on YouTube, which is something I was doing regularly anyway. Like, I was going to do anyway. But I think I've suspended it for a while, but there was a site that I actually did all these logos on myself. So it was all done by me, which is awesome. I was pretty happy with the job I did with them, and not just that. I mean, they're mostly using templates, but yeah, at the end of it, it does the job, which is the main thing. Also got some intro and outro videos at the same time, so that's pretty awesome. That's something I should definitely be doing. I got intro and outro videos, so introduction videos, so the title videos, and then after that I've got the ending video, which has a thanks for subscription stuff and all that stuff in there. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's the major components of my life that have changed. I see a therapist at least once a week now, which I think is just helping my mental health in general. I'm trying not to react to trollish stuff too much anymore, and I'm try not to worry about trigger stuff anymore, and just generally not worry about stuff, and just or not let shit trigger me for no reasonable reason anyway, and just sort of step away from stuff if I can, and not let people sort of try to control what I do. Well, not necessarily control, but like just manipulate. I'd say manipulate and what do you call it? Peer pressure me into things, because I'm just over that. So yeah, I mean, I'm changing a lot in my life since the COVID lockdown and everything else. A lot of the things that I was originally doing, a lot of the activities have cut down, so that was a bit of an issue because I did gain some weight back, and then I lost it, and then I gained it back, and I sort of been going backwards and forth, back and forth with my fucking weight, which has annoyed me. But you know what? I'm not going to push myself. I'm not going to, have a go at myself just because I've gained a bit of weight. At the end of it, it happens. It's just it's just life, inevitably. So what I'm planning to do at this point, I guess, is I'm going to try and lose that weight. Get down to a nice weight. The other thing too is I've been going to the gym as well. Yoga included. So I've been doing yoga, gym, and I got weights underneath my bed, which I've been doing a regular thing with weights. I've been doing extra long walks with my dog. Massive walk, like completely around. There's a massive lake up the road that I just go do a complete massive circle of almost. So I've been doing that. I've been going with people pretty regularly. I've been going with some people pretty regularly to do that. So that's been fun and good. I mean, I'm just trying to think what else has really changed. I mean, look, put it this way, there's definitely a lot that has changed in my life, and I've also been looking through my comment sections and stuff and things like that, and I have noticed that my comments aren't that negative. Like, there's a few negative comments probably thrown in, and I've had a couple of trollish comments or combination of that stuff. But I mean, I also look back at some of my comments, and I'm thinking, there's definitely some comments where I looked back and I think maybe my reaction was not warranted. And there's also some comments I look back and I'm thinking to myself, okay, hold on a second, that wasn't an overreaction on my part. It's just people making it seem like there was an overreaction on my part. I mean, look, I respond to most comments that I get on anything in any of my videos anyway. And the truth is, I think it's when you react and when you overreact that tends to be the problem. There's definitely people that I've seen who overreact, and there's definitely people who are bigger YouTubers than I am who overreact as well. They just they've had that in the issue. They've had that issue in the past, and they know exactly. They know it doesn't lead into a good direction. And I've seen stuff like Wings of Redemption and stuff like that, and I've seen a couple of videos like that. I'm like thinking, no, you don't want to fuel that fire. You don't want to fuel that thing behind it, because that's ultimately going to make it worse. I've just concluded that some people are dickheads and you just can't do anything about them. Most of the time, I'll just have a drink if I really need to relax, or if I really need to just avoid people's bullshit. I guess the other side of it too is, as I said, I've been trying to improve my life, and not just that, improve everything in my life. I see a regular therapist. I've got rid of toxic shit out of my life, any toxic people or toxic crap I'm just avoiding it now and just not paying attention to it too much. So just fuck it, I don't care. I could give a shit less. But I think in the long run, I'm not doing too bad. I don't know, I just want to update people on some of the technology stuff and everything else. I have been looking into the later technologies. Like, this is kind of a personal blog as well as a tech blog. So I have been looking into some of the stuff that AMD's released at the moment. AMD. The new CPUs, which looked interesting. I I have been watching some tech videos, but I haven't been keeping myself as up to date with those as I usually do. I've been so busy doing, just getting my life together and getting my shit together, basically, that that I haven't had much time to sit down and watch a couple of videos on tech stuff. But I have seen the fact that the new AMD Ryzen processors can now include Radeon graphics, which is basically like the old, what do you call them? FPUs, or it's like a GPU with a built-in, CPU with a built-in GPU, which that looks pretty good, and they're all Ryzen-based processors. So basically, at this point, you've got the Ryzen 7, which is one of the ones I've got at the moment. But it's this, I think mine's like the second generation, not the third generation. So you got the Threadripper desktop series processors. So you got the Ryzen 9, Ryzen 7, Ryzen 5, and Ryzen 3. 6 to 4 cores on the Ryzen 5. And on the Ryzen 3, it's 4 cores only. And then Ryzen 7 is 8 cores. And then finally, you got the Ryzen 9, which is 16 cores. I've honestly been having a pretty good experience. I have a Ryzen CPU myself. Mine does me pretty well, in all honesty. If I remember correctly. Mine is a Ryzen 7 2700X, which is one of the earlier Zen 2 architecture. But it's, I think, yeah, Zen 2, it's not Zen 3. It looks pretty awesome. It works pretty awesome, and I've had a couple of little hiccups, and not any major issues. I've had to restart my computer mostly, and most of the time that fixes any really major issues with it. In my experience of using it for streaming and other things of that nature, I rarely have a blue screen these days. I rarely get a blue screen, so I haven't had any real big hardware errors. The current GPU that I'm using, which is a 1080 Ti, has been going strong and still going strong, and it's still fucking working like a charm. And it's actually, 2 thumbs up on that one. Beautiful, beautiful so far. I have been using a D-Link. Let's see, because for a while I was using a TP-Link router or modem. Actually, it's a router, sorry. TP-Link router. And it was okay, but it kind of had some issues. It was getting slow and sluggish and old, and there was a lot of issues cropping up on it. And it was kind of driving me nuts, to be realistic. The current model of router and the current router I have at the moment now, the model number is a DIR 878, which is made by D-Link. And so far, pretty smooth experience with the internet. Upload's been great, download's been great. I'm generally finding my wireless speeds are a lot better too. I'm finding that's a good experience. The only time I get a really shitty wireless speed with this new router and the only time that this happens is when I've had a really old adapter, like a wireless N, sort of wireless A, G, B sort of adapter. And I do have a mixture of adapters in this house. I have N, I have A, I have G, I have B. I have all those at some point. They've been through this house, and they've come through from clients with the machines and stuff. That's the only time I get really shitty wireless speeds. But otherwise, the wireless speeds are mostly pretty good. I've found my uploads have been really high. My uploads have been nice and high. My downloads have been nice and high. And generally, the whole streaming experience is pretty spot on. There is a couple of times I have to restart the computer because I have this weird issue. I have this weird issue with my computer from time to time where the speed will just almost drop to 0. But it won't drop on the router. It's not the router that's dropping the speed. It's just the fact that I need to reboot my computer. So what I'm thinking is, what happens is maybe the computer gets a bit overloaded because it's probably when I've used a torrenting software, and that just might overload all the connections, all the multiple connections that you get into Windows. So I think what happens is the connection gets overloaded, or the actual software gets overloaded with too many addresses and too many physical connections, and then that fucks it up. And I have to reboot everything, and when it reboots, it refreshes everything. That's what I'm thinking, at least. I'm pretty sure that's the case. The headphones, the new headset has been great. So far, a good experience. I've been using it. I haven't used it directly on the Xbox as I haven't got anybody that I can play with at the moment, unfortunately. But I do have a few people I might be able to play with in the future, so we'll see what happens. That should be awesome, to be honest. We'll see what happens, but we'll see which direction that goes. But it's pretty good on stream. Like, I've done live streams with it, and it comes through pretty clear. Like, the voice, the whole thing, it just comes through really nice and clear. Sorry, my dog is still fucking... I can't believe he's barking all this time. I don't know what the... I would love to fucking know exactly what the fuck he's barking at. I have no idea what he's barking at. I personally think there's somebody who stands outside my fucking gate just to annoy me. Just to fucking annoy me. So my dog fucking barks at it. Either that or, Satan's in the house somewhere, I guess. I don't know. I'm guessing that, but, it could be a possibility. You never know. Anyway, my point that I'm trying... Sorry, I had to make that line joke anyway. Okay, so anyway, the point that I'm trying to make to you is, for the most part, there's a lot of stuff that has changed in my life, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm going in the right direction with right now. I'm still working on the drinking and the smoking, because my therapist does want me to decrease my drinking, which I have been. I did for a while, and then I sort of increased it again. As they say, I technically fell off the wagon. But he didn't. His motto is, it's not really failure, it's just you had a relapse. So just go back and start again, start from scratch. That's fine, which, to be honest, it wasn't really a big relapse, to be honest. It was just like me just in drinking a little bit extra during the week or something, I think. But the most of the time I've been drinking on the weekends, if I do. Like, I do tend to stick to drinking on the weekends. But I don't know. I don't think my therapist never said I'm actually an alcoholic. He just said that I have issues with drinking, particularly because it gets me in trouble in certain situations when I overdrink and I do stupid shit. So that's obviously that my drinking can cause me problems. But the other side of it too is I don't drink. Like, he seemed... I think of it this way. I don't drink every day of the week. I don't get drunk every day of the week. I don't want to drink every day of the week because, to be honest, I don't want to be plastered off my ass all the time, because that's kind of not the best way to deal with life in general, and it's not going to do anything for your fucking health either. I drink, or I binge drink on a weekend. Now, he considers binge drinking to be abusive, or that is technically abusive onto the line. So what he's saying in essence of context is that when you binge drink on a weekend, it's just as bad as drinking all week. Is his outlook on that. Now, I don't necessarily feel that. I feel that if you just have a drink on the weekend, that is not the worst thing you could do for yourself. And there's probably worse shit you could do to your health. I mean, you could be taking cocaine, meth, and all the other fucking drugs on top of that, But, yeah, like, that's the thing. I feel it's probably not the worst thing I could be doing for myself. The other side of it that I found with most things is that, the other side of it, as I said, I haven't even started on the smoking with my therapist, but he kind of knows how much I smoke because I talk to him regularly on Skype and stuff, and he always sees me having a smoke or whatever and things like that, so he knows how much I actually do smoke. But I mean, look. At the end of it, I'm working on those things. It's still a work in progress, and I think even my therapist turned around and said it takes time for to work these things out anyway, and it's just a progressive thing. You have to, that's my point. You have to work these things out. So pretty much what's happened at this point is that, as I said, I'm seeing that therapist once a week now. I'm taking driving lessons with a driving instructor as well. I'm trying to make my videos look more professional at the same time, so that's something that I've worked into the entirety of my life as well. So I'm trying to make my videos look a little more professional, a little more fine-tuned, as it were. I haven't worked on the editing side of things because I'm thinking I might actually do some type of editing course so I can edit my videos a little better. But I do self-edit, so just editing on the fly, saying things, not saying things, sort of, just making sure that I'm basically, making sure that I'm saying, well, just making sure that I'm actually making my own personal edits in my mind, not just in my mind, but making my own personal edits on stuff that I say sometimes, or the way I say certain things. Aside from that, it's mostly just been that, and just getting my life on track, getting things worked out. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. I will be getting a new car soonish. Dad's going to help me with that one. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know whether my dad's going to actually give me his old. Well, it's not an old car, but it's 2018, 2017 or something. He might give me his car that he's got currently, and then what happens when he gives me that car is he'll end up going buy. He'll probably go and buy a new one. I'd say he'll probably buy a new Kia, the newest model anyway. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Or I may actually buy a car, or may actually go out looking for a car specifically. But well, it's neither here nor there. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that because I still got to learn to drive. So Dad's taking one day at a time. So just to see how it works out. But I think Dad's pretty confident in me getting used to driving and just being able to drive and stuff like that. I think he's pretty happy with that. But at the same time, it's a work in progress. It's all in flux, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, aside from those few pieces of tech and stuff that I've been getting those. Future upgrades and things that I like to do is, or future upgrades that I really want to get into the future. Probably say a new 12 core. Get myself a Samsung Galaxy S10 because I have an S9 at the moment and I'd like to upgrade. Once I've moved on from that, probably put 64 gigabytes of memory in my computer, definitely. Because I've got 32 in there at the moment. I just like to have 64 just a little bit extra oomph. And my nephew ended up getting 64, so I don't think it's a bad thing to do that, especially during rendering work or doing videos and stuff in particular. What else? I'm just trying to think if there's any other future upgrades that are really essential at this point. I wouldn't mind getting a Google speaker for the workshop, just so I could play music and do stuff out there and everything else and stuff like that. And I could have Google stuff going on out there. So it's kind of like that speech recognition stuff and everything else. What else? I think those are essential stuff or essential things that I would really want to get at this point. I guess what I wouldn't mind doing. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that's really essential at this point. I want to get some new business cards printed up as well. So there's that's a few things because I've got a brand new business card design that I worked on, and I really like the way it looks, and I think it's a lot more streamlined than my current one. So I'd love to get some new business cards printed up at the same time. Maybe put a bit more money into advertising for Gumtree, and maybe some more money into advertising for my website as well. That wouldn't be an optional thing. My website's not looking too bad now. It's looking reasonable. For the most part, it's pretty functional, but I wouldn't mind maybe if I ever got enough money to do it, would be to upgrade my website. So actually do some more stuff with it, make it a bit more smoother. I mean, to be honest, I'd probably, if I ever got enough money, I'd pay somebody to do the job. Realistically, that'd be my whole thing I'd go for. Because I mean, my current website's been done by me, so I mean, it's not perfect. It was just slapped together with duct tape, really. And I mean, for the most part, it is fairly okay, but it's not ideal. What else? Maybe some maybe if I get enough cash out of the situation, I'd like to buy some more stock. So like actual parts and stuff, and like bulk buy a bunch of parts and then resell them. I mean, the other thing I guess I could try doing is drop shipping, which would be I'd get a supplier and like buy so much stock out of that warehouse, and then get them to ship it to the each client or whatever for eBay or something. Effectively, that's what I'd like to do as well. Trying to think if there's anything else that's really essential. Obviously, I'd like to get some stuff, maybe like a signer or something to stick on the side of my car when I get it. For doing mobile deliveries and stuff. Not deliveries. Mobile, what do you call it? Fucking mobile repairs and everything else. So, yeah, doing some mobile repairs and stuff, I'd like to get something to whack on the side of the car, like a magnet or something like that, that's basically... I don't know. I wouldn't get a paint job on it. I'd probably get. Well, I mean, if I had enough money, I'd probably get a paint job on the side of the car or something, with the logos and stuff and representative stuff for my business. So yeah. Oh shit. Let me think. I wouldn't mind going on another cruise because I really did enjoy the first cruise, and I don't think it's a bad idea for me to do that. I'd love to go on another cruise and just chill and relax and. It was good actually, having a few drinks and just having an old time, and talking to people on the smoking deck was always fun. Maybe go on an overseas holiday at some point too. We'll see how I feel. What else? I mean, obviously we've got the COVID stuff now, which is kind of shitty, but I mean, I'm doing fairly well for the COVID stuff. Not too bad. I still have those shitty moments, but yeah, well, don't we all? Just trying to think if there's anything else that's really sort of required at this point. Maybe get some extra parts and buy some extra stuff that I need. Advertising especially. Maybe print up some business flyers as well. That wouldn't go astray either. Probably get some professionally printed from like Vistaprint or something to that effect. I'd say. I know a place that probably might be able to make the flyers up. So, I think the website I've got at the moment that I'm actually paying for, which I've paused it for 2 months because I don't really need it right now with all the stuff that's just because I need the money anyway just to keep bills and keep my head above water. I've just postponed it for 2 months, and then it'll come back and I can use it again. I mean, look, at this point, I'm changing a lot of stuff. I'm trying to be more professional about things, trying to be more intelligent, trying to make some better choices. I mean, not that I wasn't a smart person to begin with, but I definitely fell down a bit of a hole for a while, and I definitely felt like I was in a bit of a hole with some things in my life. So I'm trying to change those things, essentially. And to be honest, like, I've looked at most of the comments that I had a long time ago, and they weren't negative. I was always very, very knowledgeable with people, and I was always very nice to people. Yeah, definitely. There's you know, unfortunately with the internet, you're gonna get some negative comments from time to time. You're gonna get bullshit that happens, regardless. It happens. It's just the way it's life. I will be streaming out of my workshop at the same time. That's something I'm going to be doing as maybe a regular thing. I'll make up like a stream. I'll make up like a regular stream thing where I can stream building and fixing computers. I actually got to build my nephew's PC, and that's probably going to come up in the next few weeks or so. I'm going to be building his. I previously did one of my nephew's PC builds, and this is going to be my other nephew. I've got 3 nephews, so this is Lachlan, I think. Jacob was the last one who did the build with me. Or did his build with me. I'm going to be doing it this time with Lachlan, and I'm going to see if I can get Lachlan to come along too, and he can, I can teach him how to do things or do certain stuff with how to put together. Yeah, well, hopefully. I mean, I'm hoping that's what happens essentially, but we'll see what happens. The other thing too is he's got to source the parts. He said he's going to source the parts and find out exactly. I know. I mean, I know the rough costs and everything else of this stuff, but I told him that if he looks around at all the different places, he can probably find different pricing on some of those parts. I got the prices off one website, and I said, look, go and look at the other websites and see if they're any cheaper or if there's any price changes. Just stick to the specs that I gave you, pretty much, and that's what I told him. I mean, the other thing too that I've learned a bit more about the AMD specs and everything else too. I know for a fact now that when it comes to, say, for example, what do you call it? So it's always better to get the high spec RAM. So if you get like 3200 megahertz RAM in DDR4, it's always best to get the higher spec RAM than the lower spec RAM. I do have lower spec RAM myself, which it's not a bad thing, but I would like to get obviously 3200 megahertz. That's pretty much what I'm aiming for in a 64 gig kit, which we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'd like to get that. Just trying to think if there's anything else that is essentially needed at the moment. I mean, look, I've got most of the essential stuff that I need out of this. I'm going to be doing some more volunteer work as well. So I'll probably be doing some Facebook live streams from there, maybe, depending on the situation. I can also purchase parts from them pretty cheaply as well if I need extra and spare parts and everything else. I've got that working with vulnerable people card now, and that was a requirement to go back to do the volunteer work. And I'm like, all right, fuck it, you know, I'll get the bloody thing. So that's why I did end up getting it. So I got that out of the way. Hopefully I can start getting back into all the activities and stuff and things that I was doing before. I was going to be doing 10-pin bowling, and I was playing pool. At one point I was playing pool. I was doing all these different activities like a games day and all this other shit and cooking, and I was doing all these different things, all these activities that obviously were just keeping my mental stability in check. For the most part they were, and you know, at the end of it, I didn't have a problem with that. But we'll see what happens because, you know, this COVID thing has locked down a lot of stuff. And obviously that stuff, yeah, it's caused a lot of issues anyway with different stuff that was going, you know, whether it's activities or whether it's restaurants or pubs or clubs or whatever. And I haven't been out to a pub or a club for a while, so that'd be nice to be able to do that again. But I have been keeping up some regular exercise. I've lost a bit of weight. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. Like, that's the honest truth. I'm actually pretty damn happy with how things are heading. I got a haircut recently because my hair was just in a complete and utter fucking mess. It looked like it'd been hit by a disaster area, and now it looks a lot better, a lot short back and sides sort of thing, and just nice and short. And yeah, it's good. It's kind of still bedhead, but it's not as bad as it was. But I mean, my hair was just like, it looked like a rat's nest, literally, which just didn't look. It looked like shit. But yeah, I think I'm finding myself, and I think for the most part I'm doing well. And not just that, in the tech department I'm doing pretty well also with a lot of the stuff I've been getting. I have a bunch of parts I'm going to be putting together soon. I don't know whether it's going to be soonish or not because I have to source a motherboard, and the problem is the motherboards I'm looking at are going to cost about 200 and something bucks, and I just don't want to pay that fucking much for a motherboard because it is an AMD FX processor. I don't want to pay like 200 bucks for a board. I mean, even though they are very good boards, I'm not arguing that, but they are an older board, so I don't want to have to pay that much for a fucking motherboard. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, really? And it's just because I think it's more the fact that they're rare components, or they're rare in particular places. And on top of that, nobody's really shipping from China or the US or those areas now. And because of this COVID thing, there's a little lockdown stuff going on, so the postage is going to be through the fucking roof. So that doesn't fucking help either. Yeah, so... But I think that I will leave it there for now. I hope everybody enjoyed that little spiel stuff that I was talking about. I mean, it's not spiel, but... Okay, so we've got... What was the latest stuff on... So we had Intel. I mean, there's a lot of latest tech coming out, too. There's heaps of tech coming out. Let's have a look. Intel. Let's see what's happening with Intel these days. Our response to the pandemic. I could give a shit less. There we go. Okay, so let's see. So let's have a look. So it looks like there's a lot of stuff. I mean, you got the 10th generation, which you got to do 10 cores. I don't know what the latest ones are. Let me have a look. No, I want fucking game stuff. Product details. So you've got the i9, i5, and i7s. So altogether, looks like they're coming out with some interesting technology. But they're like AMD Ryzen has come a long way. Not just that, but it's come a long way from where it used to be. It's way better than it used to fucking be. I mean, it used to be shit house, to be truthful. That's kind of the things that fucking annoys me. But so the 10th generation i7s, ranging from, so let's see, 10th generation, 10th gen Intel Core i9 processors go up to 5.3 gigahertz and 8 to 16 cores. 10th gen Intel i7 processors are up to 5.1 gigahertz and 6 to 12 to 8 to 16 cores. And the 10th generation i5 processors are 4 to 8 cores and go up to 4.6 gigahertz. So that's interesting. Looks like look, at this point I think they're playing a lot of catch up to AMD, because AMD has done a lot with their CPU. I mean, they have done a shit ton. I guess another thing that people might be interested in too. See, I said I was going to end the video, and now I'm talking about tech. So we talk about Nvidia, for example. Shit, you motherfucker. There we go. Just going to move this over. Shit. There we go. Just going to move that over. So let's have a look. Nvidia. So it's been a while since I've actually looked at Nvidia. So in the sense of what Nvidia is doing with most of their platform and what they're doing with their graphics cards, developers, industries, drivers. I don't care about drivers. I'm gonna fucking gaming and entertainment, GeForce. So the current sort of cards that have come out now, the cards that are on the thing is the cards with RTX, which RTX it looks like a pretty good technology, to be honest. I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. When it first came out, it was like, whatever, it was kind of like, whatever, who cares? But it's come a long way, and it's looking pretty fantastic on a lot of these different cards that they're releasing. So the vast majority of cards that are being released these days, I mean, so the 2080 Ti, I would personally pick over most cards. I mean, even if it is expensive, I'd pick it because it's a pretty maximized card, and you get a fair few years out of that. As the mid-range cards go, I'd probably go with a 2070 Super, because you're going to get more boost out of that. And there's the 2080 Super, which I don't know what the 2080 Super is like. But, yeah, some of these look interesting. G-Sync monitors are still a fucking rip-off with the amount of fucking money that you have to pay for the cunts. I mean, it's ridiculous. I would probably not pay that. That's the reason I didn't get a G-Sync monitor. Mine's one of G-Sync. It's just 75 Hz out of the box. So, yeah. I don't think it even has FreeSync, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the mine doesn't have FreeSync. But, it's just not worth it. I don't know, I honestly feel the G-Sync monitors are kind of not worth it. I mean, the amount of money you're pumping into it's just fucking ridiculous. AMD, on the other hand, with graphics, this is my point, it's been fucking a long time since I fucked around with anything Radeon or otherwise. Graphics. So Radeon powered systems, Radeon graphics cards. The Radeon RX 57 XTs. Don't know what they're like. Haven't tested them. Have not tried them. No idea what they're fucking like as a card. No idea what their performance is like. It's supposed to be a smaller manufacturing process, but I have no idea. I've never tested one, so yeah. No idea. Just no idea. I don't even know if they've worked out, because apparently for a while I know that for a fact that Radeon graphics drivers were having an issue with the graphics drivers were having heaps of issues, like fucked up issues. Like the drivers were just fucking dead in the water because they were so retarded with how many fucking bugs they had in them. That's the last I heard anyway, and that was a while ago though. And that's my point. I haven't touched a card since then. And most of the time I go for Nvidia. I mean, personally. So I did hear there's some new Ryzen mobile processors being released, which they're supposed to be low power versions, and they're supposed to be pretty good on the stock speeds and like generally good and very high performance. Laptop. So let's have a look. AMD Ryzen 4000 series. So yeah. Athlon Gold. I don't even know what the hell that. Athlon Gold's probably not the best, but let's have a look. Yeah, it's based on the Zen 2 architecture. So, is mine based on the Zen 2 architecture or Zen 1? No, mine wouldn't be Zen 1, it'd be Zen 2. Yeah, so it should be interesting to see what developments they come out with for mobile technology. By the way, the new Samsung Ultra 20 Plus, or sorry, 20 S20 Plus looks pretty good. Also, the Ultra looks pretty good too. Like the Ultra looks pretty fucking fantastic, to be truthful. I mean, I've had an S9 for a long time, for a very amount of time. I mean, I got it second hand, but I've mostly been buying second hand phones, mainly because of just because of the pricing of the brand new phones. Like, they're fucking $1,000 for a fucking phone. I'm like, that's just ridiculous. So that's the reason I end up always getting something in the second hand market. It normally costs less. I mean, it costs about $600-700 or something. It's not too bad. I think I paid the most I've ever paid now is probably about $400 or $500 at the moment that I've been paying for a phone. I think the last one I got was a gift actually for my birthday, but yeah, like four or $500 I think at maximum, to be truthful. So yeah, I wouldn't. I was just waiting for the price. I was waiting for the S20 to come out, and I was waiting for the prices to go down on the S10, because then I could get a good second price on an S10. So and then I'd pretty much get an S10 for myself at some point. So let's have a look. Technologies desktop. So so there's the S10s. I don't know, like, as I said, I've been going for a lot of the different tech sites and stuff like that. And, like, I know there's been a lot of releases since then. There's been heaps of releases of different technology. And some of it's fantastic. Some of it works great. And some of it's marvelous. Some of it's just, some of the other stuff is just a pile of fucking shit. And it's not like everything is, but, there's definitely some stuff in the tech side of things that's just fucked. Like, really? Tech news. I'm just looking for tech news. Give me a second. Okay, what do we got? I'm not going to follow the Verge. Fuck off. I'll go to CNET. Let's have a look. So, like I said, there's been a lot of releases of technology. And I'm finding them pretty cool so far. Now, they're going to be releasing an AMD Ryzen 300 XT, which these are supposed to be like extra, they're supposed to have extra clock speeds and stuff, and generally be more responsive. So maybe see what comes out of those and what they're like with clock speeds and stuff, and I may end up upgrading to one of those. I don't know. I'll see what happens anyway. The other thing too is fitness bands and smartwatches and stuff like that. So this one is a fitness band that checks your blood pressure, pulse rate, and oxygen. It's been working quite well. but the problem is the battery life on it is fucking abysmal. It's a Kogan branded one. It is okay, but the battery life is just not great for me. It works, but it's just the battery tends to go pretty fast on it. So I'm going to get another Kogan one, but I'm going to get one of the newer models, which I believe has better battery life from what I've seen and what I've come across online of reviews and stuff like that. They does say that they generally does have better battery life and lasts a lot longer. Kogan products are pretty good. They're pretty reliable. They're based on a template for the same sort of design, and it's basically like a non-branded thing, sort of thing. And a lot of the stuff you get from Kogan is pretty good too. I've bought a fair few things from Kogan, and they've been pretty gnarly in the way they respond. So don't ever be afraid to buy Kogan technology. It's pretty good. It's probably the best ratio for price and everything else. So yeah. So yeah, what else we got here? So what's I don't know what the hell that is. Yeah, I think they call it DLSS 2.0. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I think that's something that's probably going to tie in with like RTX sort of stuff and things of that nature. So, but there's a lot of new technologies being developed at NVIDIA, so that's pretty awesome. AMD is just really standing in the shit out of, to be honest, kind of with how their graphics cards are competing. They're not really. They're not competing with NVIDIA as much as they should be. I mean, yeah. Let's have a look. Or at least I feel they're not competing as much as they should be. But there's probably, I think there's some people who feel the same too. So what else? What else? Let me just try to think if there's anything that's in particular. What is that? Why is there a comment? I'm going to go to Twitter for a second because notification. And to go to Twitter because I'm a twit. A little bit. Have a look. Alright, okay. That's a random tweet. And it's just a recommendation from Twitter. Okay. Fair enough. So anyway, the point that I was trying to make anyway, it's just kind of weird. I got this tweet and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, we're going to recommend this random tweet to you. It's awesome. Thanks. Great. Didn't really, give much production to my life, but... so, the thing that I've noticed with most of the tech coming out is, it's not that we're stagnated, but we're sort of at a certain precipice right now with a lot of the tech that's coming out. It's just, we're just advancing on the stuff that we've already released most of the time. And I mean, that pretty much is just an add-on. But see, sometimes I do wait a little while for them to bring more tech out and stuff. I will say, though, fucking monitors have come down way down in price, especially if you want a 75 hertz or something to that effect type monitor. So it's something with a high hertz anyway, at least. They are quite amazing with their prices now. The prices are a lot more amazing than they used to be. I mean, the prices used to be shit before. I just like the sense of like getting a good monitor with a good refresh rate and stuff like that. So prices of monitors have come down. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some of the prices have gone up in Australia for tech because, unfortunately, we're not getting any more we're not getting any more tech shipped into the country, unfortunately, just because of the COVID-19 bullshit. So it's not really bullshit, but I like to call it bullshit because it's just annoying that it stops you from enjoying certain activities and enjoying certain stuff in your life. And I don't think it's just... Look, I don't believe the COVID-19 is bullshit, but I mean, it is a fairly mundane thing in the long run because it only really effectively fucks up people who are very old or have a really bad immune system or issues with their immune system. So, yeah. That's the thing. COVID-19 is not as prominent as people think it is. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Don't stop washing your hands and, still social isolate, but, I just think it's a bit just dealing with the bullshit of it generally. Just the whole lockdown the country thing, and but I guess at the end of it, you know, if it saves a few lives, yeah. I mean, the other thing too is they didn't. I guess it's also because they didn't want to overload the medical system. If there was a massive influx of people with the disease, with the virus, and it may cause an overload to the medical system. It may cause, you know, a significant problem for people who are who have really serious issues. So, like tech at the moment, like water cooling, anything for that matter. I mean, most of this stuff, like they say they haven't shoved the prices up on a lot of this shit, but I reckon they have. M4 socket. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, ooh, excuse me. It's kind of weird how it's worked, but yeah, it's kind of hard because I think the main problem at this point in time is that a lot of it's yeah. I don't know. Just a lot of it's. Hold on, yeah, a lot of the tech that is coming out these days, a lot of it has actually come to a certain point now where it's sort of stuck in limbo with some of the advancements that you can make because it's more tweaking. Like there's a lot of tweaking going on with the newer tech, so there's a lot of tweaking processes because AMD's totally changed everything, that's awesome. That's great. Nvidia's sort of still winning, and like I said, AMD really needs to pick up their game with the Radeon side of things because the Radeon side of things is shit. Like, to be honest, they really need to fix a lot of that crap. In all honesty, and I think that's the main problem. If they were a little more competitive, that might help the situation definitely. 1,243. Sorry, I'm just looking and seeing some of these prices and stuff. So, B55. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think for the most part, prices have definitely probably gone up, and the components are becoming a bit more rarer to get, and shipping them in and everything else is a lot harder because it's all coming from fucking China at the moment. And we are relying on China for a lot of shit, especially electronics and computers in particular. Turntables, internal, external, MD sockets, TX4. So it's sort of interesting with the Threadripper side of things too is quite interesting as well. I mean, especially the development of that. There's a lot more rendering stuff you can do, especially with like Hollywood based. I think my nephew was pointing this out with a lot of the stuff that's being released now. When it comes to computers, you can do all the Hollywood stuff and everything else and things like that. So yeah, sorry. The only reason I closed my door is because my dad was there, and I didn't want him to walk in front of the camera because he probably would have been in his underwear because he normally sleeps in his underwear. So it's not probably the best thing to have on camera in the background. But yeah. Oh, weird. So pretty much at this point, in like the sense of tech stuff, things have come a long way, and we are getting there with a lot of this stuff. And it's spectacular. Like the technology is spectacular. I think a lot of it needs a little more development, a little more throughput with some of the stuff it does. Obviously, it's still in development. There's a lot of things being. There's also a lot of shit that's being faked as well. There's a lot of shit that's being sold as an actual legitimate working product when it's bullshit. You know, and that's the fucking problem, or half the issue anyway. I find personally. I'm gonna delete those anyway. Let's empty that recycling bin. Sorry, empty my spam folder. I don't think there's much else I can talk about in tech. The Xbox Series X. So yeah, that's probably the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. As somebody who's considering getting the Xbox Series X, and the only reason I'm doing this is because I would probably get a PS5 if I wanted to invest the money in getting a PSP or a PlayStation Network subscription. But the only reason that I'm getting an Xbox Series X is because I have Xbox Live Ultimate, or Game Pass as they call it. Game Pass Ultimate. That's it. Yeah, I've got Game Pass Ultimate. And the thing is, I'm getting a lot of games out of that. That's awesome. But I'm also getting them. I'm getting them for my PC, and at the same time, I'm also getting them for my So I'm getting them for the PC, and I'm getting for my Xbox. Which, to be honest, it makes more sense to me. To be honest, two devices. Yeah. Whereas if I got a PS5 or PS4 or whatever, I'd have to have a separate subscription for everything, which would drive me fucking nuts, and just like the cost involved. And look, if I had the money, I would, but no, just not at the moment. But the Xbox Series X looks amazing. The Xbox Series S, I think it is, Series S, looks amazing as well. It's a little bit slower, and it's lower resolution, obviously. But the new fact that the consoles are going to be able to do 4K now is awesome. The PS5 looks like a Wi-Fi router, basically. And, the other one looks like a mini fridge. But, the mini fridge isn't bad, by the way. I don't know, I mean, generally the specs, generally, if you look at them on paper and the specs themselves, they look pretty awesome. So, I'm not really going to complain about that. But, I mean, at the end of it, will it ever beat a PC? Not at all, no. Look, at the end of it, it's as simple as that. I play PC and I play Xbox. I won't deny that. But the truth of the matter is, will an Xbox Series X ever beat a PC? No. Because PCs are always going to be ahead. But with these new gaming technologies and the developments of stuff in the PC market at the moment, currently where the PC market is, I honestly feel and truthfully feel that it's driven forward the consoles more, like the development of console technology. It's driven it forward. So all the developmental stuff that goes into the NVIDIA GPUs, the AMD GPUs, the CPUs and stuff like that, all the Ryzen technology and all this technology that's moving us forward, it's the gaming that's keeping that going, and it's the gaming aspect of PCs that's keeping everything going. And it's actually brought the consoles forward to a much higher level now than what they used to be. Like, it's on a much broader spectrum, yeah? And it's definitely helping the situation for gamers who game on a console, which there's nothing wrong with that. I don't game on a mobile, by the way. Actually, that's not entirely true. I sort of game on a mobile. I'm not platform biased in any way at all. I will game on a platform if I feel it's worthy of gaming on. I do play one mobile game in particular, which is San Andreas. So GTA San Andreas. But I think I have every right to, and I think that's a pretty good game. There's also a couple other mobile games I play, like Star Trek, like a couple of Star Trek-based games and stuff like that. There's like a few games that I play. There's a couple of little games, like strategy games and stuff like that. But I probably wouldn't play PUBG Mobile, no. Probably wouldn't play that. But there are a few games that I think are not too bad to play. So yeah. So I think that about covers it in the sense of tech, and this being a personal blog. So this is going to be tech news / personal blog. Yeah, definitely. So this is going to be tech news / personal blog. Stick around, as I said. If you've stuck around this long in the video, that's fucking awesome. You got a great attention span, obviously. And if you didn't, well, fuck, I don't know. Whatever. I could give a fuck less, but... Oh, yeah. But, you know, I sort of do kind of give a fuck because I do want to grow my channel and I do want to do stuff like that. So it's not like I don't want to actually grow it. So I guess the other thing I should say before I leave is please subscribe. Leave a comment if you want to leave a comments. Chuck us a like if you like, if you find this interesting on some of the stuff I've gone through and I've been talking about. I mean, some of it was personal stuff, but if you're interested in some of the tech stuff I was talking about too. Yeah, so the bubbles that we get with that, I should be right. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. I will be probably doing some more videos. I sort of slowed down on my video production side of things. I haven't been able to find the right things to do videos with, and I'm doing this driving course at the moment. Once I get the driving down pat and everything else, I should be okay, and then I'll be able to focus a little more on my videos and stuff. Because now I'm focusing on, you know, don't steer the car into traffic. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, I'll leave it there for now. I will talk to people, I guess, when I do a next personal blog or something like that anyway. But for people who still watch my channel, which I know there are a few subscribers who do, thank you for your support, and thank you for the comments, and thank you for the kindness, and generally thank you for people who do want to support me and not troll me. And thank you for people who do help me with stuff, and, you know, give me a leg up in life instead of a leg down. Or, you know, hit them while they're down. Okay, anyway, I'll leave it there. Okay, thank you.